Let's talk about greatest common factor and least common multiple. Remember our pirates when we were making simplified fractions? We used greatest common factor to help us make fractions smaller. It helped us hunt for copycat ones so we could make fractions in simplest terms. To move forward in fractions, we need to understand least common multiple and greatest common factor. Both of these concepts will help us tackle fractions that do not have alike denominators. Least common multiple, or LCM, is useful when we are creating common denominators so we can add and subtract fractions. By finding the smallest common multiple, we can avoid doing extra work and simplifying. We want to be efficient when working with numbers. The greatest common factor, or GCF, will also help us when we're working with adding and subtracting fractions. The GCF tells us what the biggest number is that will divide into both numbers. It's the number that contains all the factors common to both numbers. We can find the LCM and GCF of numbers by using prime factorization. What is prime? A number is prime if its only divisors are 1 and itself. So 2 is a prime number because I can't divide it into any other factors than 1 and 2. Other prime numbers include 3, 5, 11, 13, 17, 23, 29, 31, and more. Factorization is listing out the factors of a number until you've broken it down into all the possible prime numbers. There are a couple ways we can organize our prime factorization to organize our thoughts. Some teachers like to use a tree. No, I mean a factor tree. Let's look at the prime factorization of 12 and 18 to find the greatest common factor and least common multiple. 12 breaks into the factors of 3 times 4. 3 is a prime number, but 4 can be broken down into 2 more factors. 2 times 2, which are both prime. The prime factorization of 12 is 3 times 2 times 2. If we multiply it back out, we'll end up at 12. 3 times 2 is 6, 6 times 2 is 12. Now let's factor 18. 18 breaks down into factors of 2 times 9. 2 is a prime number, but 9 can be broken down into more factors. 3 times 3, both of which are prime. The prime factorization for 18 is 2 times 3 times 3. We can multiply it back out and end up with 18. 2 times 3 is 6, 6 times 3 is 18. To find out what the greatest common factor of 12 and 18 are, we look for what prime numbers they share. To help me see this, I'm going to put a line through the matching prime numbers in each tree. I can see now that they share a 2 and a 3. I only list shared prime numbers once and multiply those factors together. So the greatest common factor of 12 and 18 is 6. We can also use the tree to identify the least common multiple. This is found by listing the greatest common factor and the other factors that are not shared. Multiplied out, we can see that the least common multiple is 2 times 3 times 2 times 3, which is 36. Some students struggle to keep prime factorization trees organized. They can look sloppy and be hard to find the prime numbers. If this describes you, you'll want to use this other method. This is called the division tower. I think you'll like this. Start at the bottom of your page and set up a division problem between 12 and 18. We divide and then write the answer on top of the line. Repeat the steps until you get a 1 on the top. It kind of looks like a birthday cake with a candle on top. See? Much more organized than using a factor tree. Let's use the same marking I did in the factor tree to help me see which factors they share. They share 2 and 3. The greatest common factor is 6. I can only count these once because they share them. For the lowest common multiple, we multiply the greatest common factor and the factors that are not shared. With the division tower, I can quickly see who is left behind and add them to the list to get multiplied. We have a leftover of 2 and 3. 6 times 2 times 3 is 36. We'll be using these concepts to help us order fractions, simplify fractions, and do addition, subtraction of fractions.
Do you have a child that could benefit from multisensory math? Come take our quiz to find out if Made for Math is right for you.